Hello everyone. Before we start, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel and leave a comment with where you're from and what time you're watching. That way, YouTube will keep showing you stories just like this one. Now, let's begin. I've been driving through the American Southwest for almost 10 years now. Work keeps me on the road, delivery contracts mostly. The kind where you pick up in one city and drop off 3 states away. I've learned to love the solitude of it, the empty highways, the long stretches where it's just you, the engine, and the dark. Highway 93 between Las Vegas and Phoenix is one of those roads that makes you feel small. It's a 2-lane strip of asphalt cutting through absolute nothingness. No towns, no gas stations for 60, 70 miles at a stretch. Just desert on both sides, swallowed by darkness the second the sun goes down. It was around 2 in the morning when this happened. I'd left Vegas late, later than I should have, and I was trying to make Phoenix before dawn. The road was mine. I hadn't seen another car in over an hour. My headlights barely cut through the oppressive black ahead of me, just enough to catch the white lines and the occasional reflective mile marker. The radio kept cutting in and out. Static, mostly. Every now and then, I'd catch a burst of a Spanish-language station, voices talking fast and fading just as quick. I didn't bother changing it. The static was almost comforting, proof that something else existed out there, even if I couldn't see it. I remember the cold. Even with the heater on, the desert cold seeped in through the edges of the windows. My hands were tight on the steering wheel, and I was fighting that 2 a.m. exhaustion, the kind where your eyes feel heavy, but your brain won't let you relax. That's when my headlights caught him, a figure on the shoulder, just standing there. A man, maybe in his 40s, wearing a worn jacket that looked too thin for the cold. His thumb was out. Hitchhiking. My gut reaction was immediate. No. You don't pick up hitchhikers on deserted highways at 2 in the morning. That's basic survival instinct. But as I got closer, I could see his face more clearly in the glow of my headlights. He looked tired, desperate, and it was freezing out there. I slowed down. My foot hovered over the brake. Part of me wanted to stop. Part of me screamed not to. I kept driving. I glanced in the rear-view mirror, half expecting to see him walking, maybe waving me down, but he wasn't there. The road behind me was empty. Not just empty, he was gone, like he'd never been there at all. I told myself it was a trick of the light, exhaustion playing games with my head. Maybe I'd imagined the whole thing. I turned the radio up, trying to drown out the unease creeping into my chest. 5 miles later, I saw him again. Same man, same jacket, same stance on the shoulder, thumb out. This time he was closer to the road, close enough that I had to swerve slightly to avoid him. My heart kicked into overdrive. That wasn't possible. There was no way he could have gotten ahead of me. No side roads, no vehicles, nothing. I didn't slow down this time. I flew past him, eyes locked on the road ahead. Hands shaking on the wheel. I checked the rearview mirror obsessively every few seconds, and just like before, he vanished. One moment he was there, the next gone. I was panicking now. My breathing was shallow, and I couldn't rationalize it anymore. Something was wrong. Something was very, very wrong. 10 minutes passed. My speed climbed to 80, then 85. I just wanted to put distance between me and whatever that was. The radio had gone completely silent, just dead air, no static, nothing. Then my headlights lit him up again, standing in the middle of the road. I slammed on the brakes, the car skidded, tires screaming against asphalt. I swerved hard to the left, narrowly missing him. The car fishtailed, and for a second, I thought I was going to lose control completely. When I straightened out, he was at my window. His face was pressed against the glass. Inches from mine. I could see every detail, the deep lines around his eyes, the grayish stubble on his jaw, the way his breath fogged up the window, and then he mouthed something. My name. Not just my first name. My actual first name. The one only people close to me use. The one that's not on any registration or ID I keep in the car. I didn't think. I just floored it. The engine roared, and the car lurched forward. I didn't look back. I couldn't. My hands were shaking so hard, I could barely keep them on the wheel. The next 20 minutes were a blur. Mile markers flew by. I kept checking the mirrors, expecting to see him again. Expecting him to appear in the back seat, on the hood. Somewhere. Finally, I saw lights ahead. A truck stop. Bright, fluorescent, beautiful lights. I pulled in fast, tires crunching on gravel, and parked under the brightest light I could find, right next to a semi and a couple of other cars. I locked the doors immediately and just sat there, trying to catch my breath. My chest was tight. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. That's when I noticed it. On the passenger seat, a crumpled piece of paper. I didn't remember it being there before. I reached over slowly, like it might bite me, and unfolded it. My full name was written on it, not printed, handwritten, shaky, uneven letters, and below it, today's date. I couldn't breathe. I sat in that car until the sun came up, didn't close my eyes once. When the truck stop attendant came out for a smoke around 6 a.m., I finally worked up the nerve to go inside. I asked him if anyone had come in overnight. He looked at me like I was crazy and said no one had been there but him. I drove the rest of the way to Phoenix in broad daylight. Haven't taken Highway 93 since. I still have that piece of paper in a drawer at home. I don't look at it often. But it's there. I've tried to forget his face pressed against that glass, but every time I close my eyes, I see him mouthing my name. If you're still listening, you probably enjoy stories like this. A like or a comment helps keep them alive. I'm the kind of person who plans things out. Road trips, especially. I check the route, mark the gas stations, make sure I'm never running on empty in the middle of nowhere. But that night I screwed up. I was heading north on Interstate 15 through the Mojave Desert. It was late October, around 11 at night. I'd been visiting family in Barstow and was making the long drive back home. The plan was simple. Fill up before leaving town, cruise through the night, be home by morning. Except I didn't fill up. I was running late, distracted, and I figured I'd catch the next station. The next station never came. By the time I realized my mistake, the fuel light was on, and the GPS was showing no gas stations for another 40 miles. My stomach dropped. I was in the middle of the Mojave, nothing but sand, scrub brush, and darkness in every direction. The radio had cut to static about 20 minutes earlier. I tried scanning for a station, anything to keep my mind off the fuel gauge, but all I got was white noise. Eventually, I gave up and turned it off. The silence was worse, though. Just the hum of the engine and the sound of my own breathing. I was doing the mental math. Miles per gallon, how much distance I could squeeze out of what was left, when I saw the sign, reflective, green and white. Rest area, 1 mile. I don't remember seeing it on the GPS. I don't remember seeing any rest areas marked on this stretch, but I wasn't about to argue with good luck. Maybe I could at least pull over, figure out my options, call for help if my phone had signal. I took the exit, a narrow access road, barely paved, gravel crunching under my tires. The rest stop appeared in my headlights, a small building, maybe a few parking spaces, and a single flickering light above a bathroom door. No other cars. The place looked old, not abandoned exactly, but like it hadn't been used in a long time. There was a faded sign near the entrance, Built 1987, maintained by Caltrans. I parked under the light, the only one that seemed to be working. The engine ticked as it cooled. I sat there for a moment, staring at the building. Something about it felt off. But I needed to stretch my legs. Needed to think. The door to the building was unlocked. It swung open with a low creak and I stepped inside. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, flickering in uneven intervals. The place smelled like disinfectant trying and failing to cover something sour underneath. Mold, maybe, or just old, stale air. There were 2 bathroom doors, men's and women's, both closed, a water fountain on the far wall, and in the corner, a couple of vending machines. They looked ancient, dusty, unplugged, except one of them had a faint glow like it was still on. I walked over to the water fountain first, pressed the button. Rust-colored water trickled out, slow and thick. I didn't drink it. That's when I noticed the bulletin board on the wall. It was covered in missing person, flyers, all of them old, faded. The paper was yellowed and curling at the edges. I leaned in closer, scanning the faces. Missing since August 1992. Last seen June 1995. Disappeared October 1993. They were all from the 90s, and they all had one thing in common. Last seen at rest area on I-15. My stomach turned. I backed away from the board, my eyes darting to the vending machine, the bathroom doors, the exit. That's when I heard it. Footsteps. Slow, deliberate, coming from the men's bathroom. I froze. My eyes locked on that door. The footsteps continued, heavy boots on tiles circling inside the bathroom, around and around. The door creaked open. No one came out. But the footsteps didn't stop. They kept going, circling, just inside the doorway now, like someone was pacing, waiting. I didn't think. I just moved. I bolted for the exit, my hands fumbling for my keys. Behind me, I heard the vending machine hum to life, its display cycling through products on its own, chips, candy bars, soda, flashing faster and faster. And then a voice. Faint, scratchy, like it was coming through a broken speaker. Stay. I hit the door hard, shoulder first, and stumbled out into the cold air. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely get the key in the ignition. The engine turned over, and I threw the car into reverse, tires spinning on the gravel. I glanced in the rearview mirror. Someone was standing in the bathroom doorway. Just a silhouette. No features, no face, just a shape, backlit by the flickering fluorescent light. I floored it, fishtailing back onto the access road. By the time I reached the highway, I was doing 70. I didn't slow down. I glanced back one more time. The rest stop's light blinked out completely, just darkness where it had been. I coasted on fumes for the next 20 miles, heart pounding, hands gripping the wheel like it was the only thing keeping me tethered to reality. When I finally saw the lights of a real gas station, I almost cried. I pulled in, filled up, and sat in my car under the lights for a long time. When I finally went inside to pay, I mentioned the rest stop to the attendant. Asked if he knew about it. He looked at me like I'd lost my mind. There's no rest stop on that stretch of I-15, he said. Never has been. I checked the map a dozen times. That rest stop doesn't exist, but I was there, and someone else was there with me. People call U.S. Route 50 the loneliest road in America. Drive it once and you'll understand why. It cuts straight through the heart of Nevada, nothing but sagebrush, mountains in the distance, and stretches of highway so empty you start to wonder if you're the last person left on Earth. I was making the drive from Ely to Fallon in January. Middle of the night, around midnight. It was my own fault for starting so late, but I'd been delayed. I figured I'd rather drive through the night than waste money on a motel. The temperature had dropped below freezing. My heater barely worked, and the windows kept fogging up no matter how many times I wiped them clear. The road was completely empty. No other car. No lights except my own headlights cutting through the dark. I'd been on the road for about 30 miles when I saw headlights in my rearview mirror. Big vehicle, maybe a semi or a large pickup truck. It stayed back, maybe a quarter-mile behind me. At first, I didn't think much of it. Finally, another person out here. Made me feel a little less isolated. But then I noticed something. I slowed down, dropped from 65 to 55. The truck slowed too, kept the same distance. I sped back up to 70. So did the truck. I told myself it was nothing. Maybe they were just tired. Zoning out, following my taillights without thinking about it. But then why not pass me? Route 50 is straight for miles at a time, wide open. No reason not to pass. But the truck just stayed there, maintaining that exact distance. 5 miles, 10 miles, 15. My hands started to sweat. I checked the mirror every few seconds, watching those headlights. They never got closer, never dropped back, just stayed there like they were locked onto me. I tried slowing down again, this time dropping to 45. The truck slowed. I sped up to 80. The truck matched me. My chest tightened. This wasn't coincidence. This was deliberate. I kept driving, telling myself I was overreacting. Maybe it was just someone playing games. Bored, messing with me. But then the headlights got closer, not gradually. Suddenly. Like the truck had punched the gas. It closed the distance in seconds, pulling right up to my rear bumper. So close I couldn't see anything in the rear-view mirror except the grille and those blinding headlights. Then the high beams flashed on. My car flooded with white light. I couldn't see anything. Not the road, not the mirrors. Just pure, blinding white. I squinted, trying to keep my eyes on the road ahead, my heart hammering in my chest. And then I felt it. A tap. Gentle, but unmistakable. The truck had bumped my rear bumper. Panic hit me like a fist. I floored the gas pedal. My car lurched forward, the engine screaming. 85, 90, 95. The truck stayed right behind me, matching every move, every swerve. Mile after mile, no towns, no turnoffs, no other cars. Just me and this truck racing through the darkness. I was crying now. I couldn't help it. My hands were white-knuckled on the wheel, my whole body shaking. I kept looking at my phone, but there was no signal. Hadn't been signal for over an hour. I thought about brake-checking it, ramming it, anything to make it stop. But then I saw lights ahead. Small, dim, but lights. A town. Austin, Nevada, maybe. I didn't care. I just pushed the car as hard as it would go, begging it to hold together. The truck stayed on me the whole way, right up until I crossed the town limit, and then it was gone. Not slowly, not gradually, just gone. I checked the mirror, and there was nothing. Empty road, no headlights, no truck. There were no turnoffs. Nowhere it could have gone. It just vanished. I pulled into the only place that was open, a 24-hour diner attached to a gas station. I sat in the parking lot for 10 minutes before I could even get out of the car. Inside, the waitress asked if I was okay. I must have looked like hell. I told her about the truck. Her face changed. "You're not the first person to say that," she said quietly. Other drivers have reported the same thing on Route 50. Never sticks around once you hit town, though. I waited until the sun came up before I kept driving. Before I left, I checked my rear bumper. There was a small dent. Paint transfer. It was real. I don't drive Route 50 anymore. And when I have to take deserted highways, I never look in the rearview mirror longer than I have to. I'm not the kind of person who buys things on impulse. But about a year ago, I was browsing a thrift store in Albuquerque, killing time before a long drive, and I saw this old CB radio sitting on a shelf. $20. The guy behind the counter said it still worked. I don't know why I bought it. Nostalgia, maybe. My dad used to have one when I was a kid. I remembered the static, the trucker voices crackling through, the weird sense of connection it gave you on empty roads. So I grabbed it, threw it in my car, and mostly forgot about it. Until that night on Route 285. I was heading south through New Mexico, coming back from a family visit in Roswell. It was late March, around 1 in the morning. The highway was empty. Just me, scattered ranches in the distance, and the occasional oil derrick silhouetted against the sky. I'd been driving for about 2 hours, and the boredom was starting to get to me. My phone had no signal. The regular radio was playing the same 6 songs on repeat. So I reached over and flipped on the CB. Static. Loud, harsh static that filled the car. I started scanning through the channels, not really expecting to find anything. Mostly just white noise. Every now and then, I'd catch a fragment of trucker chatter. Someone talking about road conditions, weather, nothing interesting. Then, around mile marker 74, I picked up something on channel 19. A voice, clear, calm, almost conversational. Blue sedan. You're about 10 miles from Carlsbad. I froze. I was driving a blue sedan, and I was about 10 miles from Carlsbad. My first thought was coincidence. Maybe the guy was talking about someone else. Maybe there was another blue sedan on this road that I just hadn't seen. But then the voice continued. You should pull over. Check your right rear tire. My hands tightened on the steering wheel. I glanced at the dashboard. Says, no tire pressure warning. The car felt fine. Everything was fine. I didn't respond. I didn't even have a microphone hooked up. I couldn't respond if I wanted to. I changed the channel, moved to channel 14. Static. I was about to turn the whole thing off when the voice came through again. Same voice, same calm tone, on a different channel. I'm trying to help you. Check the tire. My heart started pounding. How was he on multiple channels? How did he know what kind of car I was driving? How did he know where I was? I scanned to another channel. Channel 22. You're not listening. Channel 8. You need to stop. Every channel, every single one. The same voice. Calm. Patient, like he had all the time in the world. My breathing was shallow now. I pulled over onto the shoulder, gravel crunching under the tires. I grabbed my flashlight from the glove box and got out, legs shaking. The desert air was cold, silent. I walked around to the right rear tire, shining the light on it. Nothing. It looked completely fine. No nails, no cuts. Pressure looked good. I checked the other 3 just to be sure. All fine. I got back in the car, my hands trembling as I reached for the door handle. The second I sat down, the CB crackled to life. Good. Now look at your back seat. My blood went cold. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. My eyes were locked on the rearview mirror, too terrified to actually turn around. Slowly, so slowly, I turned my head. The back seat was empty. Nothing. Just my jacket and an old gym bag. I let out a shaky breath and faced forward again. The voice came through immediately. Not yet, but you'll want to keep an eye on it. That was it. I ripped the CB unit out of the dashboard mount, yanked the power cord, and threw it onto the passenger floor. Silence. For about 5 seconds. Then the voice started again, coming from the unit, even though it was unplugged, even though there was no power running to it. You can't get rid of me that easily. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely turn the key. The engine roared to life, and I floored it back onto the highway. The voice didn't stop. I've been listening to you for a long time. It was getting quieter now, more distorted, like a radio signal fading. See you again soon. Drive safe now. And then, silence. Complete, total silence. I pushed the car to 90, desperate to reach Carlsbad, desperate to reach lights and people and civilization. My eyes kept darting to the CB unit on the floor, waiting for it to crackle back to life. It didn't. By the time I reached Carlsbad, I was a wreck. I pulled into the first place I saw, a brightly lit Walmart parking lot. I parked under the brightest lights I could find, right next to the entrance. I sat there until morning. Didn't close my eyes once. When the sun finally came up, I got out, picked up the CB radio from the passenger floor, and left it in the parking lot. Just walked away from it. I never used CB again. Never even thought about it. But a few weeks later, curiosity got the better of me. I looked up Route 285 and that channel, Channel 19, in some trucker forums online. That's when I found the posts. Dozens of them, going back years. Drivers reporting the same thing. A voice on the CB, calm, conversational, telling them things he shouldn't know, warning them about things that hadn't happened yet. They called him the Watcher. One post stuck with me. It was from 2019, a trucker out of El Paso. He wrote, "If he tells you to check your back seat, don't turn around." I made that mistake. I won't say what I saw, but I don't drive at night anymore. I still don't know what would have happened if I'd kept listening. Part of me doesn't want to know, but sometimes, late at night, when I'm driving through empty stretches of highway, I swear I can hear static in the distance. Faint, almost like it's coming from somewhere inside the car. And I wonder if he's still out there. Still listening, still watching, still waiting for me to look in the back seat. Some say it ended that night. But I still wake up in a cold sweat, seeing those headlights in my mirror. Thanks for listening. If you made it through the darkness,